Have you ever wondered who will truly stand by you when you're old and everything changes? It's a question that most people don't stop to ask until it's already too late. In our younger years, we gather people, acquaintances, co-workers, neighbors, classmates, and we often assume that many of them will still be around when we need them the most. But time has a way of revealing the truth. As we grow older, the circle gets smaller, and what matters most isn't how many friends you have, but which ones still show up. Listen closely. In this video, we're going to explore the 4 types of friends you can truly rely on in your later years. These are the friendships that go beyond small talk and surface pleasantries. They are the ones that bring comfort in silence, strength during hardship, and joy on the ordinary days. And perhaps more importantly, will also shed light on why some people, though they may be familiar, aren't the kind of friends you should count on when life gets challenging. So if you've ever wondered who really belongs in your life moving forward, stay tuned. Because by the end of this video, you might see your relationships in a whole new light. And you may even be inspired to invest more deeply in the ones that truly matter. If you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Let's begin. Number 1, a friend who listens without judgment. There's something sacred about being listened to, really listened to, without interruption, correction, or quiet disapproval. And yet that kind of listening is rare, especially in old age when people are quick to assume they've heard your stories before or they think they know better. That's why one of the most valuable friends you can have is someone who offers their presence without trying to fix, critique, or steer the conversation. Just a steady, quiet listener who respects your voice and makes room for your truth. Let me tell you about Irene, a 79-year-old woman who had grown used to nods and polite smiles whenever she tried to share something that mattered to her. Her adult children often cut her off mid-sentence. Neighbors were friendly, but always in a rush. It wasn't until she reconnected with an old friend named Grace, a woman she hadn't spoken to in over 2 decades, that she realized how deeply she missed being heard. Over coffee, Grace simply listened. No phone distractions, no advice, just full attention. And Irene said afterward that it was the first time in years she felt like her words actually landed somewhere. The older we get, the more we carry. Stories, regrets, hopes, grief, and sometimes all we need is a witness. Not someone to analyze or respond, but someone to sit across from us and nod with understanding. When you find that kind of friend, one who doesn't rush you, who lets the silence stretch without discomfort, you've found something rare and healing. Research in psychology confirms that feeling truly heard reduces stress, lowers blood pressure, and even improves cognitive health. But beyond the science, it simply brings peace. Because when someone listens without judgment, they're not just hearing your words, they're saying, "You still matter. Your voice still matters." And that's something we all need, especially in a world that moves faster every day, where seniors often feel left behind or spoken over. A friend who listens becomes a mirror, reflecting not just your words, but your worth. They remind you that you're not invisible, not outdated, not irrelevant. But here's what's just as important. You must be that kind of friend too. Be the one who listens, who puts down the phone, who asks follow-up questions, not out of politeness, but because you actually want to understand. That kind of presence has power, more than most people realize. Because in the end, when life gets quieter and the world gets smaller, few things feel more comforting than knowing someone will still sit with you, listen fully, and make space for all the things you need to say. Number 2, a friend who checks in consistently. There's something quietly powerful about a person who remembers to check in, not just on birthdays, not just when there's news, but in the ordinary rhythm of life. A quick call, a brief message, a visit without an agenda. These gestures may seem small, but for someone in their later years, they can mean the difference between feeling remembered and feeling forgotten. Take Samuel, a 74-year-old man whose days had grown quieter since retiring and moving to a smaller town. His neighbors were kind but distant, and his adult children lived several states away. Most days he kept busy with hobbies and errands, but the evenings felt long. It wasn't until his old fishing buddy Earl began calling every Sunday afternoon just to talk that Samuel felt his week had structure again. They didn't discuss anything earth-shattering. They swapped jokes, talked about the weather, shared memories of past trips. But that simple check-in became a lifeline. What makes a consistent friend so rare is that they don't wait for something to be wrong. They don't only show up when drama or crisis calls, they show up because they care. And that kind of regular presence builds trust, something that becomes more precious with age. As we get older, life has a way of shrinking social circles. Narrow health can limit mobility, old routines fall away, and that's why friends who initiate contact without being asked, without needing a reason, stand out. They are the ones who say, "You're still on my mind," without needing to say it outright. Consistent connection supports emotional health. Studies have shown that older adults who have steady social contact are significantly less likely to experience depression, cognitive decline, or feelings of worthlessness. But even more importantly, it creates a rhythm, a dependable beat in the background of your week, something to expect, to prepare for, to look forward to. And if you have a friend like that, someone who keeps showing up, you already know the comfort it brings. But if you don't, you can be the one to start. Set a reminder. Choose one day each week. Call someone. Message someone. Make it a ritual, not because you have to, but because you know how it feels to be remembered. Because when someone takes the time to check in, especially when there's nothing dramatic going on, it sends a quiet message that echoes louder than most words. You still matter. You're still seen, and you're still worth making time for. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 2 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now, let's move forward. Number 3, a friend who shares values and growth. As we get older, we begin to crave more than just casual conversation. We want depth. We want alignment. And perhaps, most of all, we want to spend time with people who understand the kind of life we're trying to live. That's why one of the most rewarding types of friendship in old age is one rooted in shared values, someone who's on a similar path, not in lifestyle, but in mindset. Let me share the story of Margaret, an 82-year-old retired teacher. She had dozens of acquaintances, people she could chat with at the community center or wave to during her morning walks. But it wasn't until she met Helen during a book discussion group that she realized something had been missing. They both loved reading, but more than that, they both enjoyed exploring new ideas, having respectful debates, and challenging each other's thinking. It was a friendship that went beyond surface-level companionship. It fed her mind and her spirit. When you share values with someone, your conversations feel more meaningful. You laugh a little deeper, reflect a little longer, and leave feeling more alive. It's not about agreeing on everything. It's about caring about the same kinds of things: kindness, honesty, faith, resilience, curiosity, or whatever matters most to you. This kind of friendship doesn't just fill time. It helps you grow, even in your 60s, 70s, or 80s. You're not done evolving. You're still learning, still refining your beliefs, still reaching for new insights. And a friend who shares your values creates a kind of emotional and intellectual mirror. They affirm your direction while gently stretching your thinking. Research in gerontology shows that seniors who maintain friendships centered around mutual respect and shared purpose tend to have higher life satisfaction and greater emotional resilience. They report feeling not just happy, but more fulfilled because they feel understood and understanding. In the later stages of life, understanding is more nourishing than applause. It's easy to assume that friendships have to be based on history, on how long you've known someone or what you've been through together. But the truth is, Some of the most powerful connections can begin later in life, when two people simply realize they see the world in a similar way. So if you find someone who makes you think, who makes you feel aligned, who brings out your better self, hold on to them. Make time for that connection. Nurture it. Because those kinds of friends aren't just pleasant to be around. They remind you of who you are, who you've been, and who you're still becoming. Number 4, a friend who shows up in difficult times. There are friends who are fun at gatherings, friends who share hobbies, friends who always have something interesting to say. But when life takes a turn, when illness hits, when grief shows up, when everything feels heavier than usual, you quickly learn who really belongs in your inner circle. A true friend in old age is one who doesn't disappear when things get uncomfortable. They lean in, they show up, they stay. Let me tell you about Walter, an 85-year-old widower who had built a comfortable life with his wife of 52 years. When she passed away, the silence in his house was deafening. The cards came in. The funeral was full. But within a week, the phone calls stopped. The visits slowed. Most of his friends didn't know what to say, so they said nothing, except for one, Ray, a friend he'd known through his church. Ray didn't ask, "Do you need anything?" He just showed up with coffee and sat beside him. No advice, no fixing, just presence. That kind of friend is rare. The one who stays when others step away, the one who doesn't rush your pain or try to put a bow on it, the one who understands that just being there, quietly, steadily, is more helpful than any words could ever be. And when you find that friend, you realize just how much it means to be supported, not only in celebration, but in sorrow. These friends don't need to have all the answers. They don't need to say the perfect thing. They just need to be there, at the hospital, at the kitchen table, on the other end of the line when sleep won't come. And often, it's not the frequency of their presence that matters. It's the depth, the sincerity, the way they show up without being asked and stay without needing praise. Studies in aging psychology show that the presence of a supportive friend during difficult periods can significantly reduce the risk of long-term depression and emotional withdrawal. It's not about fixing the problem. It's about not being alone in it, about having someone who holds space when the world feels shaky. And let's be honest, old age, while rich in wisdom and freedom, also brings its share of hard days. Losses accumulate. Health becomes unpredictable. The people who once leaned on you may now need your care or may no longer be around. In moments like those, you don't need 50 contacts in your phone. You need one soul who walks with you, not ahead of you or behind, but right beside. So ask yourself, who would sit with you in a hospital waiting room? Who would call just to check if you made it home safe? Who would quietly drop off a meal without expecting anything in return? That's the kind of friend worth keeping close. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 4 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now let's move forward. Final thoughts. When we're young, we often believe that having many friends means we're loved, connected, and successful. But as we age, life gently teaches us a quieter truth. It's not about how many friends you have. It's about which ones truly remain, the ones who listen without judgment, the ones who reach out just because, the ones who share your heart and values, and the ones who are still standing beside you when life grows heavy. These are the friendships that hold us together when everything else seems to be falling apart. So take a moment to think, who are your 4? Who has consistently shown up in your life? Not just when things were light and easy, but also when they were hard and unclear. And perhaps even more importantly, who are you being that kind of friend to? Because friendship in old age isn't about nostalgia. It's about mutual care. It's about being present, being real, and being steady. The years ahead can be deeply meaningful, even beautiful, but not because of the number of people around you. It's because of the strength of a few true connections, the ones you can count on, the ones who make you feel seen, valued, and never alone. So choose wisely, and once you've found your people, hold them close. Because the right friendships don't just comfort you. They preserve your dignity, nurture your spirit, and remind you that no matter your age, you are still deeply loved. Thank you for joining us today. We'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment below and share one thing you learned today and how you plan to use it in your life. Your thoughts are important to us, so don't hesitate to share them. Reading your comments gives us great motivation and encouragement. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please like, subscribe, and share. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Thanks for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video.